What would happen if India got mad and got every country at once? First thing they would do is get their army ready and attack their biggest enemy, Pakistan. This would be a tough battle, but Indian forces would prevail and take their whole territory. Their next targets would be Nepal and Bhutan, who wouldn't stand a chance against the Indian army. Bangladesh would pose a great threat, since they wouldn't be so easy to beat. China would send their army to the border, forcing India to expand westward, attacking Afghanistan. However, they would call their ally Iran, making a huge problem for the Indian forces. But they wouldn't mind, and would quickly take Afghanistan and push the Iran troops far back. China would use this situation and enter the war to beat their biggest threat, with Indian troops having to regroup, and with Iran and China pushing them from two sides, they wouldn't be able to hold much more and would have to surrender. What would happen if Sparta came back and destroyed the whole world? First thing they would do is separate from the Greek Republic, which would make Greece furious and force them to attack them. However, Spartans would shock the world and actually win this war. With them learning how to use guns, Europe would be scared. They would attack North Macedonia and Albania, wanting to expand their empire. Spartans would crush them, forcing all their neighbors to get their army ready. Serbia and Montenegro would be the next victim, but they would be a tough cookie to beat. Spartans would take heavy casualties, but would be able to take all their territory. Bulgarian and Romanian forces would use this and attack the wounded Spartan army, pushing them way back. Even though they would be outnumbered, they would be able to resist their attacks. But with Turkey joining this conflict, Spartans would be finally pushed back and eventually destroyed. What would happen if Mexico got mad and got revenge on the US? First thing Mexico would do is quickly take the whole Central America, spreading fear through the whole South. They would want to attack the United States, but their army still wouldn't be strong enough. They would instead turn to the South and rampage through their lands until they would meet resistance from the Brazilian and Argentinian forces. Even though they would fight hard, Mexico would overpower them and take control of the whole South America. They would prepare to get revenge on the US and would send cartels to wreak havoc on their land. With them distracted, Mexican army would push through, taking a huge chunk of their territory. The US would finally have enough and would target Mexican cities while their troops would be pushed far back. Mexico would try to change this war by making a surprise attack, but it would backfire, destroying their army, letting US win this war. What would happen if Winston Churchill came back and got every country he wants? First thing he would do is get his army ready and attack both Denmark and Benelux at the same time. They wouldn't be expecting this invasion, which would result in Denmark falling quick. Meanwhile, Belgium and Luxembourg would barely stand. They wouldn't be able to resist much further and would be destroyed. Germany would now be open on two sides, allowing Churchill to push them back and finally beat them. NATO would be furious and would prepare to attack the UK from many sides. This plan would be successful, since the British forces would be crushed, only allowing a couple of soldiers to retreat to Netherlands and flee back home. NATO would try to invade the UK, but with Churchill's great navy, it wouldn't be possible. They would use this situation to quickly take Ireland and sign a peace deal with NATO, letting them keep